Today we're talking about Say Anything's new album, Oliver Appropriate. Now, if you're a Say Anything fan, you know there's been a lot of news over the last few months, so before we get to the review, let's recap. Back in August, Max Bemis released a 10-page long statement called Say Anything, a Goodbye Summation. Let's dive into it. First off, the first big news we got from that statement was that Say Anything was going on hiatus. Our plans as a collective are to kind of, sort of, end Say Anything, or the first era of Say Anything, whatever you want to call it. It's that thing. I don't buy when other bands do it, but whatever works is terminology. I need a break. We'll return one day to play festivals and scoff at our career, but I want to say goodbye. There will be no US tour in support of this record or in the near future. I'm done being a touring musician as my main profession. Say Anything is retiring in the sense that Jay-Z did. It's not an indefinite hiatus or a breakup because that's impossible, but we'll get to that. We also learned about the band's new album, Oliver Appropriate, and that this would be a sequel to the band's debut record, Is a Real Boy. Bemis said, "It's my first truly inclusive Say Anything record. A record with lyrics that can be sung by girls, boys, and anyone under the sun without correcting the endlessly pervasive dude pronouns. My first record, Is a Real Boy, was written as a character. I mean that literally. We wrote a story. We planned on making it a musical. After that, people thought that character was me. In actual reality, there was no Molly, nor any rough sex." When talking about Oliver Appropriate, he said, "It's basically what I realized to be a literal sequel to Is a Real Boy in many ways. This record is the story of what would happen to the real boy many people thought I was. His band did well, but then fell off hard. He'd be my age, of course, but he'd still be living in Brooklyn, struggling with financial woes, single, and strung out. Oliver's the singer of a burnt-out emo indie punk band past their peak. He has cheated on every woman he's had a serious relationship with. He parties too much to the point of hurting himself and others." There's a lot more in Say Anything's A Goodbye Summation. It's all linked below, but as far as Oliver Appropriate goes, that pretty much sums it up. It was a good news, bad situation for me. You know, it stinks that Say Anything isn't touring anymore, but it's also great that Bemis didn't leave us wanting more, and we're getting one last Say Anything record. Not just one final record, a record that's a sequel to Is a Real Boy. I mean, how can you not be excited? Say Anything is a band I love hard, and a band I sometimes skip on Spotify. Like most people, I love Is a Real Boy. How could you not? It's catchy, clever, and I don't think to this day a record has come out that has sounded anything like Is a Real Boy. Definitely stands the test of time, and a record I come back to again and again. In Defense of Genre was defending emo/pop punk all the way back in 2007, and while not my favorite Say Anything record, you gotta respect a band that puts out 27 songs at once. In 2009, we got the self-titled album, which I think is highly underrated. I can listen to this record all the way through, over and over again. Songs like Do Better, A Death for My Birthday, Crushed, Young, Dumb, and Stung, songs that got me through high school. Just a note here, Do Better is the only non-Is a Real Boy song on Say Anything's top 10 most played songs on Spotify, minus of course the new song, Send You Off. Then we get the next three Say Anything albums, and none of which I really liked. Anarchy My Dear was a clever concept, and I liked the song Anarchy My Dear, and Admit It Again was a nice callback. Hebrews is an album with no guitars, and an album I never really listened to. I mean, I tried. 666 is an okay song. And then I don't think it is Say Anything's most raw album, but I really don't come to Say Anything for a more punky vibe. To complete our tour of Say Anything's catalog, we gotta talk about their Rarities album, All My Friends Are Enemies. And I know since that album is on streaming services, a lot of people are gonna, refer to that collection of songs as a proper album. But for me, the songs will always live on Baseball, the Menorah Majora EP, the For Sale EP, In Your Dreams, speaking of songs that got me through high school Low, Dreaming of Manhattan, Sappy, Colorblind, That's That, Do What You Want. I mean, I could go on. I love all of Say Anything's early stuff. I think that's a pretty comprehensive recap of everything Say Anything, so let's get to the new record, Oliver Appropriate. This is a strange case where in a lot of reviews many people, compare a band's new material to their older material, but with this being a sequel to an album, the comparisons are kind of justified. Oliver Appropriate has some incredible high points on it, incredible songs on it, and those high points, really remind me of the high points. They're on the same level of the high points on Is a Real Boy. I mean, take track 2, for example, Days, is one of my favorite Say Anything songs of all time. It instantly brings back memories of the Is a Real Boy sound. The same goes for track 3, Pink Snot. This is where we get that clever side of Say Anything that we all know and love. Lyrics about drugs, killing brain cells, straight-edge guys drinking beer and doing the weed. It's pure Say Anything. Ew Jersey is my favorite song on the record, and I have a feeling it's going to be your favorite too. It's everything that made Days and Pink Snot so great with the volume turned up. It's catchier, Max Bemis is flawless with his lyrics, and at just under 3 minutes, you're going to want to come to this song again and again. Let's take a look at the lyrics. Tonight I'll meet my friends, we were once the greatest, a band that's coming back from a fake hiatus, hoping that the girls cling to the bar know who we are. I tried a side project with a boutique label, but I am pigeonholed and hardly able to ever feel as high as I feel tonight, 'cause I'm actually high. Send You Off is another one of my favorite songs on the album. It instantly stands out. It's a song that deals with sexuality. It's a song, again, that comes in at just under 2.5 minutes, and that's one of the small gripes I have with this album is that, with short songs, you want more, which I guess is a good feeling to have when listening to a record, but you want the great parts of Oliver Appropriate to last longer. But we do get short songs sprinkled in throughout the album. Other songs that I really enjoyed were It's a Process and Mouth Breather, really showcase that Is a Real Boy vibe. Look, if we can be honest with each other, just you and me, I don't think that anyone really thought that Oliver Appropriate would be, at least perceived as being a better record than Is a Real Boy. Whether that's because of nostalgia, did Say Anything lose fans with the last few albums, or the simple fact that Oliver Appropriate could have been a bad record. Now, obviously, Oliver Appropriate is a good record, or at least I think it's a good record, very good record, and, pun intended, an appropriate sequel to Is a Real Boy, and double pun intended, an appropriate end, an appropriate final album for Say Anything. I give Max Bemis a lot of credit for labeling this last album, a sequel to one of his, arguably, if not definitively, his most successful album, Is a Real Boy. I mean, he could have just cashed in on the success and nostalgia of that first album and just gave us a lackluster final album, but he didn't, and thank God he didn't, because what we got in Oliver Appropriate was an appropriate final end to Say Anything, and a great one at that. What did you think of the new and final Say Anything album, Oliver Appropriate? Let me know in the comments below. Please like and share this video if you enjoyed it. Follow me on all the socials linked down below, and as always, thanks for watching. I posted about this on Twitter a few days ago, but since we're all Say Anything fans here, and I feel like we kind of know each other, I wanted to say it here as well. I think that, without question, if not being one of the greatest pop-punk songs of all time, possibly being the greatest pop-punk song of all time, right up there with Damn It by Blink, Alive with the Glory of Love is up there. I think that song is flawless. Please @ me on Twitter.